Hello, Sigurd Cast here from Sticky Week Marketing, and today I want to talk about one reason people start writing a book and then get stuck when they feel overwhelmed. They're just thinking about the detailed information that needs to go into it. Somebody said recently, I had so much stuff in my head that I wanted to get into the book that every time I sat down to write, my head was just spinning and I could not get one of those thoughts to stay long enough so that I could type to just get it into the book or onto the paper. So there are two main misconceptions about how much information actually needs to go into a book that people are writing when they want to share their message and their expertise. Let me go through. The first one is that you need a lot of information because that shows you are the expert and authority. The book needs to be thick, reasonably thick when it's finished, because if it isn't, then you don't know enough to fill a book. That's a misconception. The second misconception about how much information needs to go into a book is about actually not knowing at the very beginning what the book is about. Let's clear those two misconceptions up. If you've had that inner feeling that you should write a book, and the people around you might have even said to you, there is a book in you, you should really start writing, then you might be thinking, do I have enough material to write about? What will people say, my peers, when they read my book? Am I really good enough? What if I get bad reviews about my book? Now, if you've had those particular thoughts floating around in your head, you're not alone. There are people all over that have exactly the same thoughts in their head about writing a book. I was speaking to a leadership coach, and she expressed exactly those thoughts. And yet, she is been in business for over 25 years. She knows her topic. She knows exactly what she would be writing about. But those feelings of not good enough are in her head as well. So the notion of not good enough is big misconception, and it comes from long ago when publishers would decide who would and who would not be able to publish, and it was about being a person of standing and having that scribe background scenario. I mean, that's long gone. Forget about it. You don't need that. I have got another post or a video about that. A post, actually, I'll put the link below this video so you can go and check it out. Now, the key to overcoming how much information needs to go into your book when your head is spinning, particularly and thoughts are all over the place, the key here is that before you sit down to write, consider exactly what outcome you're looking for by writing that book. What is your purpose with it? Do you want to share your expertise? Do you want to validate it with a book? Is it about attracting clients? Is it about looking at getting contracts, big connections in place? I have identified 4 main outcomes that people express when they want to write a book with me. And I have got a particular video on that one. I'll put the link below this one as well for you to have a look at. With clarity on the outcome as to what's to be achieved with a book, the amount of information that needs to go in becomes tangible, so to speak. You know exactly what needs to go in, you know what does not need to go in. And the other thing, of course, is that people are not reading or wanting to read an encyclopedia. So how thick your book is, how many pages it has, is also a misconception. Just because somebody might have 60 A4 pages does not mean that the book is only going to be 60 pages. Those 60 A4 pages transfer into a very different amount of page numbers once you have decided on the book size that you're writing. Is it 6x9? Is it 5x8? Are you going to have your formatting in there done? How? In which way? How many additional pages are going in? So there's a whole range of different things coming into play when you think about how much material, how much content do I have to put into my book. So keep that in mind. Do not hesitate. Step number 1 is usually to start with the planning of the book. So don't just jump in, get the planning done. Now, a readable size book that we have put in place is made up of approximately, and this is the better way to measure, not by page, but by word count, 35 to 55,000 words, roughly, give or take a bit. That is for a book that an established coach or consultant wanting to get their voice out there, share their message and establish their expertise. That's the sort of book size you want to write. Now, looking at the 4 main outcomes, go to the link below this one, as I said before. We have used those type of word counts ever since I started on this path in particular. So the areas to plan, just to go back, what's the outcome that you have in mind writing your book? Who do you need to write for to achieve that outcome? What's that target audience? Who's the reader going to be? And what information needs to go into the book? And what information does not need to go into the book so that you can bring your book together reasonably quickly. Those are the first steps that I take with every one of my clients who are usually established coaches and consultants with great client outcomes. And in my Write and Publish a Marketing Optimized book in just 6 weeks or less, those are the steps that we take one by one, so that they don't get overwhelmed, they don't have spinning thoughts, and they can capture and write exactly what they need. Start planning before you start writing. Now, if you want help, my program that I offer is 6 weeks for experienced coaches and other experts. I work with you on the planning of the outcome, the marketing path to achieve that outcome. In many cases, we sort of build the marketing into the book, and that depends on what your book is about and what you want to achieve. There might be calls to action, there might be links, depending. So we publish it on Amazon so that you have Amazon's millions of buyers' eyes on your book. If that's of interest to you, connect with me. Ask me about more details. That's what I wanted to share with you around not getting stuck, or one reason why many people get stuck writing their book. Sigrid Cast.